Hi, I'm Gina Cardillo. Welcome to Falcon Focus. Today I'm here with the Superintendent of the Austintown Local Schools, Mr. Vince Caluca, and Assistant EMIS Coordinator and District Registrar, Mrs. Amy Asen. Today we're going to discuss open enrollment in the district. Welcome. Mr. Caluca, why did the district decide to move to open enrollment and what are the benefits?
It goes back a long way now. Back in 2007, the district had a levy on, asking the community for a 2.9 mil levy to, it was just an operating levy to run the schools. We do have some other levies that we thank the community for our bonds that helped us build schools, but that money does not help us run and operate the schools. In 2007, that levy failed, unfortunately, for the district, and the Board of Education was very clear with the community at that time that if the levy did fail, that we were going to move to open enrollment to generate revenue so we can still operate and provide the opportunities and all the good things we provide in the Austintown schools. Since then, we've been an open enrollment district in 2008 on, and we've tweaked open enrollment over the years. We've made adjustments to how we go through the procedures and processes. There's actually been several committees that were formed over the years. And every year, the process for open enrollment is reviewed with the board, and the board approves the number of students per class that we'd like to have, in each grade level, how many teachers we'll have, and how many students that are available for those classes. So that's really the process we go through, and it's something that we do every year.
Okay, excellent. Amy, can you talk to us a little bit about your responsibilities?
Yes, as registrar, when families come in, regardless if they're open enrollment or residents, I have to make sure the registration packet is completed properly and that I have all the proper documentation based on not only district guidelines but state mandated guidelines. Then I put the information into our student information system and the folders get passed along to the appropriate schools that the kids belong to.
Excellent.
And one of the things for the community to know is that there are state laws that Ms. Asen has to follow on accordance with registration and board policy. So when she's asking for certain documents, that's really based on what state law says.
Right.
We send her for training. We actually work with our district attorneys to make sure our documents are legal. And it's something that just is required by law. And sometimes it seems like it's a burden, but it's really to protect the children. There's actually procedures in place that she has to look to make sure children are not in a dangerous situation also when registering. So there's a lot of protocols that go in place that we have to follow.
Can you tell us how many students you average per grade level, and has that changed over the years?
This year it's about 55. It is a little bit lower than last year. Our total open enrollment number for this year is 728 and last year it was 795. So it is a little bit lower, but it's pretty much on track.
And that varies per year?
Usually, yes.
In the district, we average about 400 students a grade level with 16 teachers in a grade level, besides Fitch. Fitch has a little more teachers because of the situation with the electives that we offer in the special classes. And that's the conversation we have with the board. Do you want to maintain 16 teachers in a classroom that the buildings were built for, and then hence being able to fill those seats with students up to, right now the ratio is 23 students per class. That's what the board strives for. Because we're doing good financially, that's something we're able to do. When we had a little more financial trouble in the past, and when we started, we were about 25 students in a class. So really, the revenue that's been brought in through open enrollment has helped us reduce the number of students in each class. And our class sizes are about 23 now. Most of them are below that, though. So that's a process that we continue to look at. Miss Amy and I work collaboratively on looking at the number of students that are enrolled, and then when we get close to that cutoff, we cut that off. One of the things the community needs to know also is we do close some programs, and one particular program that is closed is our special ed program, because the law talks about that you do not have to add a teacher in order to have open enrollment. So in that program, we close that because we want to have enough seats for students that move in. We are considered a transient district in the state of Ohio, not considering open enrollment. Just our resident students are considered transient. With the number of apartments in Austintown, it kind of makes sense. So we do leave enough slots for those students that want to move in and have special needs. We also know that we average about 200 resident students leaving us every year, so that leaves enough slots for resident students to move back in. So when we go to that 23-to-1 ratio in the classroom, it really does have enough slots for our resident kids to move in and our open enrollment students.
Can you talk a little bit about open enrollment students in general? You mentioned electives. Are they able to participate in clubs and different activities like sports?
Yeah, we consider, and this is something that the board's been very adamant about, once a student comes to us, they're part of our family. So they are considered like every other child. They have every opportunity that every other child has. The only thing we really don't provide to open enrollment students is busing.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
And really the reason is that we're not sending a bus into another community right now. But to let families know, that is something that the board has asked us to look into. One of the things that you can do is depot busing, where we could send a bus into a neighborhood and then students can conglomerate to that one area and then we can bus them in. So that is something we're considering. And also just on outside of the open enrollment realm, we're actually considering busing all of the Austintown school students. Around the campus here of Austintown, there is a area that are non-bus riders, and the board asked us to look in to see if we can have all those students be provided a bus also.
I know that you created an open enrollment committee last year. Can you talk about some of the changes that have come about, or
Right.
have there been any as a result of that committee?
There actually was a committee initiated in 2007 when we started open enrollment that set the first guidelines. We brought in other superintendents from other districts. We took their recommendations. We looked at their documents. That's how we came up with our documents for the Austintown schools. Over the years, we've tweaked our documents. There was some misnomers that that committee was put in place and we were going to follow those guidelines. They only wanted 250 students to come in the district. That's not true. The board sets the amount of students that are allowed into the district, not a committee. So a committee is nothing but a recommendation. Last year, the board asked us to put a committee together because of some really rumors and lies that people were saying about open enrollment. So we put a committee together. That committee really reviewed everything we've done. They looked at some components of open enrollment, gave recommendations back to the board, and probably the biggest change that came is that we have enough finances to go to 23-1 instead of 25-1. So that's what the committee recommended to the board. The board accepted that, and we moved forward from that point on. This year, there's not a running committee because, again, everything was presented to the board. Actually, we have 2 new board members. It was presented to them, and we, again, are an open enrollment district this year, too.
Will there be changes to open enrollment for the 18-19 school year, or will
Currently,
it
there
remain
are
the
no
same?
changes. We're remaining the same.
So it'll remain the same. Great. Amy, can you talk about next year a little bit about the registration process and when that begins?
Yes, absolutely. For current open enrolled students, the intent to return will be available February 7th. Letters are going to go out next week. So they have to go back and let us know if they're going to be coming back. And then for any new students that would like to be open enrolled, that will be available March the 1st.
Excellent. And where can families find open enrollment packets and additional information to be able to follow that process?
That is on our website at www.austintownschools.org. Quick links, registration, and open enrollment. And the packet will be there for them if they want to pre-print it, or they can come pick one up.
Are there other materials that they need in order to complete that?
Yes, when they do come in to do the actual registration, they will need to complete that packet, and also I need the ID of the parent or guardian, the immunization record, an official birth certificate raised and with the state seal on it, a passport if they're coming from somewhere else, and then for custody documents, if there's anything like that, we do need a copy of that to safeguard the children. And then for residency, we need a lease agreement or mortgage document, and then 2 other documents like utility bills, payroll stub, automobile insurance, just something else so that we can make sure they're staying where they're staying.
Excellent. Great.
And just to let the community know, that's one of the things we take very serious is the registration process. And we actually have a district truant officer. That's an old term, goes back a long way, but that's still actually in the law. And that officer actually goes out and checks on residency. The reason we're so strict on it because right now in Ohio, we get funded by the students that are in our district from the state of Ohio in local tax dollars. Currently in Austintown, we get about 50% of the share for educating a child for a resident student. It's about $3,700. So we want to make sure that students that are living here are here and that we are collecting those dollars from the state government, and then they're paying the local taxes. If they're not a resident here, then we do ask those families to sometimes go register in the district that they moved to. For the open enrollment students, that brings in about $6,000 a student. It's actually a little bit more, but $6,000 a student, and that provides a resource that the district desperately needed when we were having financial troubles. And our simple analysis is, if we bring in 10 open enrollment students into a class, that's $60,000. That's what it costs the district for a beginning teacher. So every child after the 10th child in that class is really revenue that goes back to do all the things we do in the school district. All the Chromebooks that we've done, all the money that we've had to operate, all of the extracurricular activities that we do, the $2.5 million that the board has fronted the athletic department to build our athletic complex with a turf baseball field, a new turf soccer field, and redoing a turf football field. That all came from revenue that we had from open enrollment. It's not money that the state has given us. We've actually lost money from the state budget over the years since this administration has been in the last 6 years in office. So really we've done a great job as a district and a board to look at the revenues that we have and spend them wisely, and then the tax dollars that come in from the local tax collection of property tax is spent very wisely too in the district.
Excellent. Well, great. Well, thank you. That's all we have time for. You can visit the Austin Town School website at austintowschools.org for more information and for registration materials, and we'll see you next time.
In association with Austintown Local Schools and Austintown Township.